Shalom, Guten Tag, Bonjour, Hola, Ni Hao, Konnichiwa, How's it, Salamat, Namaste. Or in some of our areas here in Australia, pre-colonisation, we would say Wayapa, Paya, Yama, or here we say Kaya. Have you ever played the game Celebrity Heads? You know how it goes? You get this great name above your head. Well, let's say Gina. And for the sake of this illustration, now with this name above my head, everyone can see that. All in the audience except me. In a similar way, we hold our reputation. And it works in a similar way. We all wear our reputation above our heads. We all walk in the room and we say, hey, that's blah, blah, and he's from blah, blah. But what would you choose for that ultimate reputation? And wouldn't you agree that BHP has a great reputation? Did you know most cities in the United States of America, we in Perth here have more people. Philadelphia, San Diego, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Boston, Dallas, San Francisco, Miami. We're in Perth, our population is way bigger. Outside of London, in the United Kingdom, besides London, we have more people. Glasgow, Cardiff. So we have a big mob here in Perth. And it's really good to see that BHP is set up here. Thank you for allowing me to do a welcome to country as a Whadjuk representative to represent our mob from this way. I would say Yandu, Kwajakat Yak Wankan, Ngaj Jerp Nunakat Boy Jinangan, Nanyanaka Weirn Yandu, Kaya Nunakat, Wanjala Buja, Wanjala Nita Buja, Nalakweo Nitila Kumak, Nalakweo Nitila Bilya, Durbu Yerigan, Nitjela Kenbrang Bonang. Thank you all for allowing me to speak in front of you. I'm happy to talk in front of you, standing strong like a jarrah tree, welcoming you to this country. We call this area Kumak. We call this part of the river the Durbu Yerigan. Ngan bimu kunyat, alang ngan marley kalakap, tondrak admanik mart, wanju nitibuja. Ngach karij ngan mort, ngan karij alang buja, ngan karij nala jirak, ngach karij nala kwangan, alang nalak marlak, nala kweo kada morda, alang nalak biljaka, warang nat, ngan kora mort, bularan nalak karla karlakap. I am descendant of the Paperbark people. I am from the Black Swan Totemic clan group. My skin group is the Brown Hawk. My moiety is the Karela. We welcome you to this land. I acknowledge my people, our land, our elders, the coastal plain, the bush, the Darling Range, which we call it the Kardamonda, the Black Hills. We are from the waterways, the Bilya. We are from the coastline, the Warangnat. We are from the old people, our Koramort. We have many clan groups, our Kalakap. Nandemakamanga nini nicha buja kora, nicha ngala buja, nicha buja windage, nicha buja kora, nicha buja warpernin. Our maternal and paternal grandparents lived on this land for a very long time. This is our land. This land is sacred. This land is old. And this land has power for healing. Dunju warning, dunju yakin, kenyining, niche court corp. Standing together, creating together, walking as one, this is good for the heart. Yandu, yanangan, kariwa, kenyak yai. So thank you very much. And I hope today that it goes well for you all. Kariwa, thank you.
might just give a minute or two for people to take their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ken McKenzie, and I'm your chair. And let me first thank Joe Collard for his warm welcome to country and his kind words about BHP. I should mention that Joe was a participant this week in a traditional owner forum that we had here in Perth, where we had 16 of our traditional owners from around the country come together for some dialogue, which I think we found incredibly valuable. But I'd like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Whadjuk Noongar people, who are the traditional owners of this land on which we meet. I'd also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, and extend that respect to other First Nations peoples who are joining us today. And thank you for joining us, and I'd like to welcome you to this annual general meeting. I mean, after 2 years of virtual meetings, we're delighted to be together in Perth at the first AGM of the newly unified BHP Group. Western Australia has played an integral role in BHP's history since the 1960s, when we first developed significant deposits of iron ore in the Pilbara. And today, our Western Australian iron ore business, or WAIO for short, is the lowest cost iron ore operation in the world. And further, our nickel operations at Nickel West in Western Australia produce an important commodity for electrification and decarbonization. We are very proud of our operations in and our connections to Western Australia. So we're thrilled to be meeting you here today in person in Perth. And today I'm joined on stage by Chief Executive Officer Mike Henry, Group Company Secretary Stephanie Wilkinson, and my fellow directors. Now, Dion Weisler is regrettably unable to attend today due to a pre-existing conflict which predates his joining the BHP board. We also have our external auditors from Ernst & Young and Chief Financial Officer David Lamont in attendance. And a particularly warm welcome to Michelle Hinchliffe and Catherine Tanna, who joined the board earlier this year and who are standing for election today for the first time. And we'll get the chance to hear from Michelle and Catherine shortly. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Malcolm Broomhead, who will retire from the board at the conclusion of this AGM, and John Mogford, who retired from the board last week. Malcolm and John have been instrumental to our ongoing success, and in particularly over the last 12 months as BHP has navigated major strategic changes such as unification, the investment decision for the Jansen mine, the demerger of petroleum business to Woodside. And I'd like to thank both Malcolm and John for their support and counsel over the years, and we wish them both all the best for the future. Now, I can confirm that there's a quorum present, and as it's shortly after 10 a.m. in Perth, we can now start the meeting. The notice of this annual general meeting was sent out and made available to shareholders on the 3rd of October 2022. The poll is now open for all of the items to be considered at today's meeting, and you may now start casting your votes. I'll also give you a warning before the end of the meeting to ensure that you are able to cast your votes. Now, our Group Company Secretary, Stephanie Wilkinson, will outline the procedures for voting at today's AGM later in the meeting. In January, at our general meeting, I commented that BHP was in a strong position. The 2022 financial year results, delivered in a climate that was very challenging, a lot of uncertainty and change, really demonstrate that strength. And I'd like to take this opportunity to explain why we believe your company is well positioned today, and more importantly, the key elements we're working on to ensure BHP is positioned for tomorrow. Namely, our approach to safety, culture, and capability, our portfolio positioning for the future, our continued capital discipline, and our focus on social value. And I want to begin with safety because it has been and will continue to be our #1 priority. 2022 marked another fatality-free year for BHP. And that means your company has gone more than 3.5 years without a workplace fatality. Our safety indicators have continued to improve. For instance, we experienced fewer high potential incidents, which are those that could cause significant injury or fatality. But we're not just focused on operational safety. Our commitment to safety extends to the total elimination of sexual harassment, racism, and bullying in BHP workplaces. And that's why I want to apologize to all of those who have experienced or continue to experience any form of sexual harassment, racism, or bullying anywhere at BHP. We are determined to eliminate these harmful behaviors. At BHP, we're committed to providing a safe, inclusive, and supportive workplace culture where everyone can bring the best of themselves to work. And although we are making progress in these areas, we know we have a lot more work to do. We recognize the important contribution BHP can make both within our industry and to global economic development. BHP has supplied the resources the world needs for almost 140 years. And over that period, as the world has changed, BHP has continually adapted to keep supplying essential commodities safely, efficiently, and sustainably. Your board and management team are the stewards of this successful history, and our collective responsibility is to plan and prepare for the future of BHP with the next 140 years in mind. This means we need to plan and prepare for the long term because mines are long life investments with a substantial upfront capital commitment that can positively transform the regions in which they're established. This is why positioning the portfolio for the future is so important. And this is a very different company to what it was when we gathered virtually a year ago. It's a company fundamentally repositioned and better positioned for the future. In the past year, BHP has unified our corporate structure, becoming simpler, more efficient, and agile. We've merged our petroleum business with Woodside, and in the process created a top 10 independent energy provider. And we've given BHP shareholders further choice about their investment in oil and gas. We've simplified our coal portfolio to focus on higher quality metallurgical coal used for steelmaking. And finally, we approved the investment in our new Jansen potash mine in Canada. Potash is a new commodity for BHP, which has the potential to deliver value for a century or more. The changes we've made across BHP align your company with the megatrends of decarbonization, population growth, and demand for higher standards of living. And according to our modeling, to deliver our Paris-aligned 1.5-degree scenario, the demand for copper, nickel, and steel will grow to enable the infrastructure and products required for the energy transition. And our portfolio has some of the best assets in the world to meet this increase in demand. WAIO is the lowest cost major iron ore business in the world and one of the lowest emission intensity iron ore operations. Escondida is the largest copper mine in the world with the largest copper endowment. Nickel West holds the second largest nickel sulfide endowment and again has one of the lowest production emission intensities. While our metallurgical coal business, BMA, is one of the world's premier suppliers of higher quality metallurgical coal used for steelmaking. And the Jansen Potash project is also expected to be one of the world's largest and lowest cost potash mines when it comes into production. Now, while we're well positioned for the future, we also spent 2022 navigating significant uncertainty, and the short-term outlook remains complex. The geopolitical landscape continues to change, economic conditions remain uncertain, there's ongoing labor and skill shortages, and countries are emerging from the impact of the global pandemic at different paces. And despite the challenging environment, your company delivered strong operational and financial results in 2022. Our financial performance included record EBITDA of $40.6 billion, that's up 16%. Free cash flow of $25.2 billion, and that's up 30%. The return on capital employed was 48.7%, and there was a further strengthening of our balance sheet with net debt at less than $400 million. These results are due to the extraordinary efforts of all the people at BHP and to the leadership of Mike Henry and his management team. And this performance enabled the board to declare a total dividend of $3.25 per share, bringing BHP's cash returns to shareholders for the year to a record $16.4 billion. We also distributed a further $19.6 billion in value as an in-specie dividend through the merger of our petroleum business with Woodside. Now combined, that's $36 billion in value returned to shareholders in 2022. And this is just one part of BHP's total economic contribution, which is a measure of the financial value we create through our employment, taxes and royalties, payments to our suppliers, community contributions, and yes, dividends to shareholders. In the last financial year, our global economic contribution topped $78 billion, and this includes over $57 billion in Australia, with BHP paying close to 10% of all corporate tax in Australia. Our total economic contribution is important because it relates to BHP's focus on long-term shareholder value and social value. In June, we released our new social value framework, and this framework spells out our priorities and approach to social value creation. And importantly, it sets targets and goals for 2030 in the vital areas of decarbonization, the environment, Indigenous partnerships, workforce, communities, and supply chains. And our approach is deliberate and proactive, measuring the social and financial impact of our choices, and it's delivering tangible outcomes. So for example, we've reduced operational greenhouse gas emissions by 24% from our baseline year, and we're on track to achieve our goal of at least a 30% reduction by financial year 2030. We've reduced our fresh water withdrawals by nearly 30% on our baseline year. And we've increased female participation in our workforce to 33%, and that's up from 17% in 2016, which is the year we set our aspirational goal to achieve gender balance by financial year 2025. And today, we're also releasing our revised Global Indigenous Peoples Policy. And our revised policy is based on consultation with Indigenous peoples, global stakeholders, and employees. And this policy statement sets out our commitment to respecting Indigenous peoples' rights, listening to their voices and perspectives, and embedding that knowledge into how we work in partnership to achieve mutually beneficial outcomes. This focus on partnership and mutual benefit is crucial to our business, as our operations are often on or near the traditional lands of Indigenous peoples. And I'm delighted to announce this next step in strengthening our approach. In conclusion, I want to come back to the strength of your company. Our position, as demonstrated in the 2022 financial year results, is a credit to the efforts of thousands of BHP people over the past year. Our success is a product of their relentless focus on safety, culture and capability, the positioning of our portfolio, capital discipline, and social value. Our success is also a credit to the support of our stakeholders. And with that in mind, I want to thank you, our shareholders, for your continued support and for investing in the future of BHP. Look, it's now my pleasure to invite your CEO, Mike Henry, to speak with you. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Ken. It really is great that we can once again hold this event in person and to see so many faces in the audience. This was a big year for BHP. It was a safe and successful year, successful in terms of performance, both operational and financial, and in terms of the strategic transformation to better position the company for the future. And as Ken has touched on, we reshaped our portfolio, increasing our relative exposure to businesses that will generate greater long-term value and returns for shareholders. We unified our corporate structure. We're more agile, efficient, and profitable. We set out our Climate Transition Action Plan, which received strong support from shareholders, and our social value framework, which goes to how we will ensure we maximize the value we create with and for the various stakeholders who support or rely upon BHP. And all of this was achieved in the face of significant challenges in our operating environment: high inflation, tight labor markets, ongoing COVID impacts, disrupted supply chains, and of course, the war in the Ukraine. And this was only possible with the incredible combined effort of 80,000 employees and contractors across BHP. And I really do want to thank all of them for their hard work and commitment. The combined megatrends of global decarbonization, electrification, population growth, and increased living standards are going to mean even greater demand for many metals and minerals. And being positioned to ride the tide of global trends like these is part of what has enabled BHP value growth historically. And we are continuing this track record of transforming BHP to meet the needs of the world. We're positioning BHP at the center of the opportunity these megatrends present. And I am going to speak more about this shortly, but first I'd like to mention some highlights from the last financial year. We continued to deliver strong operational and financial performance and delivered a number of performance records. We achieved record shipments from our iron ore business here in Western Australia for the third year running. In copper, Escondida in Chile had record material mined and near record concentrator throughput, while Olympic Dam in South Australia performed strongly after planned smelter maintenance. The Olympic Dam asset is showing much better operational reliability in recent years, reflecting the investments we've made over the past 5 years in asset integrity and on building capability. Our reliable operational performance enabled us to capture maximum benefit from high commodity prices and deliver strong financial results, including record returns to shareholders and contributions to governments. Our results demonstrate the positive momentum we've built over a number of years now, and I hope our ability to consistently deliver financially and operationally in parallel with the transformative changes we're making to set BHP up for a bright future is a source of confidence for you, our shareholders. At the heart of our resilient, strong results and of our ability to grow value lies our people and our culture. And we've invested and continue to invest significant effort in making BHP a better, more inclusive place to work, a place that's more creative and agile, where people look out for one another, and where we're able to tap into the ingenuity, motivation, and discretionary effort of our teams. And it's not a coincidence that our safety and operational performance has improved, hand in hand with this focus on culture and the strong progress we've made in achieving a more gender-balanced workforce. As Ken noted, we've increased female participation from 17% to 33% over the past 6 years. And we've increased Indigenous and First Nations employment to now represent more than 8% of our operational workforce here in Australia and in Chile, and more than 7% in our Jansen Potash project in Canada. We've also increased the proportion of the workforce with permanent jobs here in Australia by almost 60% since 2017, adding more than 10,000 permanent jobs. This combination of culture and capability provides us with enduring competitive advantage, allowing us to operate more safely, to reduce our impact on the environment, and to generate higher value from our assets. Now, notwithstanding how far we've come, it's not yet far enough. We've not yet been successful in stopping damaging behavior in BHP sites and villages, and this includes sexual harassment, racism, and bullying. And I am deeply sorry and apologize to those who have experienced or continue to experience any form of sexual harassment, racism, or bullying anywhere at BHP. And I am fiercely determined to do everything I can to stop this conduct, and I know I speak on behalf of the whole of the senior management team in this regard. We are continuing to take action. In the past year, we've spent more than $200 million in upgrades to security at accommodation villages, with faster progress constrained only by the supply chain's ability to keep up with us. We've enhanced our training programs, including for both leaders and bystanders, and we've established and improved our support services. I know we have more to do on, and this is a priority that's reflected in my and our team's performance measures. Like with sexual harassment, 2 years ago, we took the decision to elevate all claims of racism to our most serious category of investigation under our Ethics Point process. And more recently, we've stood up a specific dedicated effort to stamp out racism across BHP. 8 months ago, I asked Vandita Pant to lead this effort at an executive level. And in the period since, employees and contractors across 10 locations in 8 countries have participated in sessions where we've been able to hear about their experiences. A dedicated project management office has also been established to progress our work towards eliminating this behavior and ensuring an environment in which people from all backgrounds can thrive. As I said, our people are the heart of our business, and we must provide a safe, inclusive, and supportive workplace that engages and empowers everyone every day. A key means of truly empowering our people is the BHP operating system, and this is our proprietary way of working that creates a culture and capability where we make continuous improvement central to everyone's role. The BHP operating system is giving people right throughout BHP both the license and the tools to bring their knowledge to bear in identifying and locking in new and better ways of doing things. Our centers of excellence encourage deep technical capability, allow us to bring in best practice from other industries, and enable faster deployment of improvement ideas across our business. And when we combine these with the power of data, we accelerate improvements across our value chain, from the geoscience required in exploration through to the marketing of our products. The BHP operating system supported the delivery of over $1.3 billion in savings and efficiencies in the last financial year. And we are continuing to grow the talent needed to support us to meet our goals through initiatives such as our Future Fit Academy in Perth and in Mackay. We are committed to training 2,500 apprentices and trainees through the Academy with an investment of $300 million over 5 years. Across issues of safety, of culture, and of capability, we're driving BHP forward, and we're also working to be stronger and better partners to those around us. Given that the timelines of our investments are measured in decades, and our operations can be near and part of communities for 100 years or more, we must be open and collaborative in our dealings with stakeholders. We need to be true partners with the full range of stakeholders we work with and rely upon for our success. And this sort of open engagement was integral to the development of the social value framework we announced in June, along with our 2030 scorecard, which stretches our ambitions and provides a more sophisticated way to measure performance. Our new framework further embeds social value into our thinking, planning, and performance, helping us to work with others to create better outcomes. And it includes a new 2030 goal of having at least 30% of the area of land and water we steward under conservation, improved land management, and restoration, working in partnership with Indigenous peoples and local communities. Now, to give some perspective on the scale of this goal, 30% of the land and water that we steward is around 2 million hectares. That's about half the size of Switzerland. And as part of our goal to pursue net zero Scope 3 emissions by 2050, we've progressed partnerships with some of the world's biggest steelmakers, representing close to 1/5 of global production. Our customer partnerships will help to advance the green transition of the steel industry through the development of low-carbon steelmaking technologies and their future application at plant scale. We also have, through our ventures work, a number of investments in emerging breakthrough technologies focused on carbon-free steelmaking. We've made significant changes this year to reshape our business with a portfolio more aligned to the global megatrends unfolding around us, so we're better positioned to grow value as demand for our commodities grows. We have 5 levers available to grow value for shareholders. Operational excellence and improved productivity. This is getting better at what we do every day. This is priority number 1, and it's a lever most within our control. Then it's organic growth, getting more out of these incredible resources that we have. Thirdly is exploration, finding new resources and potential growth projects globally. Then comes early stage entry. This is getting in on the ground floor of potential Tier 1 deposits found by others but not yet developed, where BHP can bring its capabilities and balance sheet to bear in a positive way. And finally, acquisitions. The right assets at the right time and at the right value, always with the discipline to ensure we're creating further value for shareholders. I've already spoken about our efforts to become more productive. On the organic growth front, we've accelerated studies to unlock more copper at Escondida, including a concentrator strategy and leaching opportunities. And we're now studying 2-stage smelting at Olympic Dam and progressing drilling at Oak Dam. At Nickel West, we already have the second largest nickel sulfide resource globally, and we've increased exploration spend over the next 2 years on highly prospective areas. We're also increasing our output at Western Australian Iron Ore to 300 million tonnes per annum, with studies underway for a 330 million tonne per annum option. And stage 1 of the Jansen Potash project in Canada, where we're looking to bring forward production into 2026, and we've already commenced studies on stage 2. We're building our suite of options in future-facing commodities to ensure that the group is well-placed in 5 to 10 years' time. Now, just before I conclude, I would like to reiterate Ken's thanks to our 2 departing directors. And I'm pleased that both Malcolm and John are leaving at a time when BHP is seeing improved safety, improved operational performance, stronger growth, and increased trust from our shareholders. Both Malcolm and John have been tireless advocates for exactly these things in their time as BHP directors. So thank you both. and I hope you'll be able to look back with some pride on what you've helped to create. In conclusion, over recent years, BHP has delivered a strong track record of disciplined allocation of capital and operational excellence, returning profits to shareholders while reinvesting in the business. Our portfolio, our people, and our processes are built for enduring success. We're confident of the fundamentals of decarbonization, population growth, rising living standards, and urbanization, and that they will drive demand for the commodities in our reshaped portfolio for decades into the future. BHP will continue to provide the commodities the world needs and deliver value for our stakeholders. And with your support, we will help to build a better future. Thank you.